Have you ever experienced one of those situations where you looked upon the landscape and said, wait a minute, this seems too easy? There's either a catch or it's a trap. That's certainly what ran through my mind when I attended this month's Rotan City Council meeting, where I had a functional blueprint of an editorial framed in my mind before anyone even considered adjournment. It was a surreal situation. Like an MIT professor telling their senior quantitative economics students there's only one question on the final exam. Get it right, you get an A. Miss it, and you retake the course. Then the professor writes 12 plus 12 equals question mark on the chalkboard and leaves the room. It can't be that simple, can it? But it is. That doesn't make what I say next easier to swallow, and I'm not sure what fascinates me more. How much the city is willing to feed its citizens or how much of it they're willing to eat. Referring to a front page article on August 18th about Rotan's glowing financial position and how the council is reluctantly, but needfully, is increasing its water sewer rates to help balance operational losses. It would appear from reading that article that Rotan is in great shape. That is, until you drive through town. And before you shout fake news like a spoiled politician, allow me to explain how the reporting is correct, even if the results are wrong. The article states the roughly $300,000 loss to Rotan's water sewer operations was easily offset with reserve funds. And even after covering the shortfall, the city still retained 2 years' worth of operating surplus in the bank. Good job, bean counter. However, it doesn't take an MIT economics grad to tell you that if all you do is continue to amass debt while doing nothing more than making interest payments, you're gonna be screwed. Well, Rotan's debt is not one of accounting. The city excels at calculating, after all. No, the city's growing deficit is one of infrastructure, and its growth, I fear, will be catastrophic. In November 2022, this was the headline and lead paragraph. Council considers costs to repair aging water tower. The Rotan City Council reviewed a recent inspection of the city's water storage tanks earlier this month, which explained the poor condition of most of the units and recommended repairs that could cost the city nearly $450,000 to complete. We reported on this same issue in 2019 when former Director of Public Works Rodney Denton urged the council to take action, then projecting around $250,000 to do the job, and recommended a 10-year plan. Since then, no plan, no action, and the towers continue to deteriorate. And you may not be thirsty yet, but you will be. In fairness, tackling massively decaying water infrastructure is a tall order. So how about we focus on something smaller? Potholes, perhaps. But for a city that only collects tax dollars instead of spending them, road conditions make driving in Rotan more like traveling the back roads of a war-torn village than a city with over 2 million tucked away in its mattress. For as long as I've been editor of this community's newspaper, Rotan has faced 3 continuous issues: water, potholes, and stray dogs. In almost 10 years, the council has achieved not one single solution to any of them. In its defense, it got close when addressing potholes. Until it was going to require accountability of work, then someone hauled in the sails and the council members never noticed the city was adrift. In 2021, the city purchased a street patching machine after witnessing it in action, repairing a large pothole at the intersection of Florence Avenue and MacArthur Street. 2 years later, the original patch is holding just fine, despite the new potholes forming around it. Fortunately, the city has no way to store the emulsion needed to make future repairs, because the $1,500 in expenses to run the electricity to the storage tank was more expensive than the officials expected. Patching machine, storage tank, and electricity to power it, less than $125,000. And while it might be insult to injury at this point, I think it's also fair to point out that the month before that original pothole demonstration, Rotan ISD began demolition of its first building. In the same time frame that the city hasn't got its pothole machine operating, School contractors built a gymnasium, cafeteria, band hall, and library. Although, maybe there's no reason to complain. After all, if the water stops flowing and the rain starts falling, the potholes could be a new water reservoir. That is, if the stray dogs don't get there first. This is Jeff Hurt, editor of the Double Mountain Chronicle. See what's in this week's edition. Pick up your copy today.